If you're not waking up inspired every day and loving everything that you're doing, then there's some kind of thinking that's not serving you. And what you've got to do is... I am Dan Warburton, a transformational coach who's known for having enabled thousands of entrepreneurs and business owners to succeed in extraordinary ways. I've also got web spaces full of testimonials backing this up, and I'm often invited to speak to audiences of thousands around the world about what transformation makes possible. I now get to live an extraordinary lifestyle, and I want you to be able to experience the same. In today's video, I'm going to be deepening some of the insights from another extraordinary short movie by Will Smith called Believe. And initially, he speaks some absolutely profound truths. Check this out and then I'll break them down for you.
The first step before anybody else in the world believes it is you have to believe it. Confucius said, he who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right.
So he says there that first of all, you need to believe that you can. Because unless you can believe that you can, nobody's going to help you. However, where did that interpretation of I can't come from? Will then goes on to say, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, a famous saying by Confucius, that you're usually right. Where does the interpretation of I can't come from? That is the work for you to do. If you're not waking up inspired every day and loving everything that you're doing, then there's some kind of thinking that's not serving you. And what you've got to do is firstly become aware of it and then recognize that you're thinking it and then choose to think something that empowers you, that inspires you. And the way to really speed that process up is to bring such awareness to the cause of that nonsense, disempowering way of thinking that you transform and break through it. So do the deeper inner work and start to reflect on where does that disempowering way of thinking come from, and then get that you invented it, it's not true, and that you just don't need to think or be that way any longer. Here's on to the next section that I found inspiring.
Make a choice. You just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide.
In this section here, he speaks about just deciding, just choose who you're going to be and how you're going to get there. You see, most people, and I would guarantee all people that fail in business as entrepreneurs or business owners, is that they get really lost in their circumstances right now. They go into a realm of survival. They're trying to survive the way the world is, and they totally forget as to why they wake up each day. And what is it that you, fulfilling what you would love to do, would make possible for others in the world? When you allow such answers to those questions arise through you, but consistently throughout the day, you keep in touch with all your dreams, all your goals, all your ambitions, and to the great things that would become possible for humanity in the world if you then fulfilled those things. So what he's speaking about there is just choose how you're going to impact the world and how you're going to do it. You know, because once you get clear about that and you keep that alive in you, it's going to give you a real reason why, especially when maybe you do find yourself a bit exhausted or tired or stressed. You're going to be able to take actions that's going to have you come back to your center. Allow that inspiration to rise through you again and then operate from there. Here's the next section that inspired me.
I've never really viewed myself as particularly talented. Where I excel is ridiculous, sickening work ethic. While the other guy's sleeping, I'm working. While the other guy's eating, I'm working.
Here, Will Smith speaks about the fact that he wasn't particularly skilled at anything. However, the one thing he does have is an absolutely ridiculous work ethic, that whilst everybody else is sleeping or eating, that he's working. Well, again, this comes back to my last video, if you didn't see this, about Gary Vaynerchuk, where also Gary Vaynerchuk speaks about working a lot of hours, but that he loves what he does. Again, the only way that you can have such a consistent work ethic is if you absolutely love what you're doing. And if you're not loving what you're doing, then there's work for you to do to transform those ways of thinking that's causing you to either settle for second best, in other words, doing a job that you don't really enjoy, but you're only doing it because the money's good, because you don't think you can really succeed at what you want to. So you've got to transform the ways of thinking that's causing you to settle for that second best. Secondly, if you are just absolutely going for it, but you're really not enjoying what you're doing, then there's something to look at in your approach to what you're doing. Because if it's not enjoyable, what's the point of life? And if it's not enjoyable, how are you going to actually maintain the level of work that's required for you to then succeed in it, to then be able to actually impact the world and in turn become wealthy and create that extraordinary lifestyle? Because you're just not. So again, do that deeper inner work and find out, where's this way of thinking coming from? And at the same time, choose your future and keep that as the main thing in your mind that drives you forward and maintains you to feel an inspiration on an ongoing basis.
The road to success is through commitment and through the strength to drive through that commitment when it gets hard.
Here, Will Smith speaks about one of my favorite distinctions, commitment, and I'll take it one further. Success happens only when we pick one thing with 100% commitment. Only then will we succeed to the level that we're really capable of. And only then will we put in the level of effort and focus and work that's required to truly succeed. You see, if you pick more than one thing, you've got, let's say you pick two things you want to become successful at, you end up with two different avenues that you split your energy across. That means you've only got 50% of your available energy going into each thing. And it's much more likely that you'll get burnt out and exhausted and not feel the rewards that you need to stay inspired and to keep going. So pick one thing with 100% commitment consistently on an ongoing basis, and to make sure that you do that, make sure that what you do, you absolutely love it, because unless you love it, there's no way you're going to be able to maintain the momentum that's really required for you to succeed. If you've got an entrepreneurial friend, then make them feel special by sharing this video with them. Also, feel free to contact me about anything. And don't forget, if you're truly committed to succeed, then hit that subscribe button.